Okay, before we get started, to let you know, your top LCD screen will display your last exposure compensation set before you turn the camera off. Here we have a stop and a third. So now let's turn the camera on, and we're going to set to either front command dial or rear command dial where we want our exposure compensation to be. So go into menus, okay, go over to button dial settings and setup. But before we go directly there, we first need to set under command dial settings on page 1 down to the plus and minus button, which is our exposure comp. Set it to front command dial or rear command dial or both. It's best to make a choice. I've chosen rear command dial. Let's go out of there. Now we'll need to go over to page 2 of button dial settings and down to exposure compensation button settings, where we will set the function of our exposure compensation button. And we can choose on-off switch, where we can toggle it on or off, or on while pressing is default, which means you need to hold the exposure compensation button while rotating the rear command dial or front command dial. I personally don't like that. I want it always on or the ability to toggle it off, so let me set it there. Go out of there. Right now, let me actually turn it on. By pressing our exposure compensation button, I'm able to see the half moon right here. Above that, I'm going to toggle it off, then on, off, then on, by simply pressing the exposure compensation button. And then I'm able to rotate my rear command dial to set my exposure compensation. So now you do have your exposure compensation dial right here. On the XT2, it would be right here. So, oh, heaven forbid, it's gone from here to here. Now, that was really difficult. It's going to take a lot of training for some people. Here versus here. So, as you can actually see, and I can lock it off, or now I can't rotate it, so I'm now going to toggle it back on again. And now I have the exposure comp set for toggle on or toggle off. This is valuable real estate up here. You still have your exposure compensation dial. It's just moved from here to here. Yeah, that was really difficult. Better than sticking a dial up here, which only serves one purpose, let's move the dial back here for exposure comp. Now we have all this useful information on the top of the camera, which also has the ability to light up. So very useful when using the LCD screen and looking top down on the camera, like a twin lens reflex, for example. You have all your information and a totally different set of information for when shooting video. And there we go. More Fujifilm perfection. Fuji! Thanks so much for watching. If you like these videos, click the link below. Tell me to jump off a cliff. Whatever makes you happy. Fuji.